In this world, is the destiny of mankind controlled by some transcendental entity or law? Is it like the hand of God hovering above? Hello and welcome to Mojo, and today we're going to look at the origins of everyone's favorite internet superhero, Sonichu. As with most comic book characters, they are often reimagined in different versions to a character's past. We've chosen to primarily follow the original storyline that unfolded in Sonic 0, which was expanded upon in Sonic 15, which fills a lot of the blanks left from that issue, while also adapting and stealing elements from the Rosechu story fan comic. Sonichu was born on April 20th, 1992, as a simple Pichu, eventually evolving into a Pikachu. Other than a brief relationship with the Jigglypuff, not much is spoken of this period of Sonichu's life. The story truly begins at Station Square, where Sonic the Hedgehog fights perfect chaos in a flooded city, as seen in Sonic Adventure 1. As Sonic uses the Chaos Emeralds, the Pikachu intervenes and somehow mutates into a hybrid of Sonic and himself. The collision also formed a rainbow that hit a nearby gender-ambiguous Raichu, and turned them into a Rosechu, as well as multiple eggs flying through different locations, who are also Sonic Pikachu hybrids. The mutation gave Pikachu the speed of Sonic the Hedgehog, but also enhanced strength and a larger move pool, as he's able to make quick work of strong enemies like the perfect Chaos Monster. Afterwards, he declares himself not a Pikachu or a simple hedgehog, but Sonichu. After the battle, Sonichu finds his biological parents having been captured by another trainer. Due to his new physiology, Sonichu could not survive on the same food they had before. While on his search for food, he hopped on a train heading miles down east, where he finds the previously mentioned Rosechu, following her to her cabin, where he meets her trainer, Kel. They instantly fall in love, because he is a man and she is a woman, and they're not autistic. That's not me being ableist, that's actually what the author thinks. It's quite depressing the more you realize it. Sonichu stays with Kel and Rosechu for a good few weeks. He uses this time to adjust to his newfound speed, telling them stories of his time as a wild Pokemon and bonding with Rosechu. Again, a lot of this stuff was blatantly taken from the fan comic. Kinda disappointing because it made me think Chris improved. One day, a mysterious figure tells Sonichu to go to the Brickville shopping center, so he can meet a certain human with a medallion with his likeness. Sonichu leaves on his own to find answers, and that's where he finally meets Christian Weston Chandler. Jeez. Chris gives huge info dumps on the entire lore of Sonic Adventure 1 and the rest of the Sonichu lore. See, that's the real Christian writing there. All while showing Sonichu his status as the mayor of the city. As a way to keep Sonichu safe, he is officially caught by Christian, even having his own Pokeball. He also meets Magichan, the guardian of the Sonichus, a title that apparently was given to him rather recently, according to this short period of time. He is also the mysterious figure speaking to Sonichu in his dreams. Magichan said that Christian was the guardian of Dimension 1218, which is a dimensional merge nonsense described in the real world. Magichan takes Sonichu to his mind subconscious, informing him that he is indeed a comic book character, part of the Dimension C197, which is just Sonichu comic. Also, he informed him that his parents are actually dead. And it appears that a few days later, Sonichu and Rosechu have their own unrelated date, only to be attacked by Nartsak, the son of the Team Rocket leader Giovanni, with no other reason than being evil, alongside his legendary Zapdos. Sonic defeats Zapdos with his newfound powers, showing that these new powers are strong enough to go toe-to-toe against a legendary bird. For his heroics, Sonichu is met by Christian once more to congratulate him on his victory. Now, this is of course being the backstory of Sonichu was in the comic. So it's quite appropriate to look at his other backstory, real-life inspirations. In March 2000, Chris had a hard time finding inspirations for their computer graphics project, trying to find something for a CD cover, as they weren't allowed to use copyrighted images. Sonic the Hedgehog, their main recolor, who was sawed up after getting hit in the face with a basketball, might have been an option that was rejected by the teacher. While coming up with ideas, Chris decided to merge two of their favorite franchises together, mixing Sonic and Pikachu, an idea apparently based on the Japanese saying of Sonic's name as Sonichu. Sonichu, Sonichu. Since then, Chris was allowed to use the image on the cover, receiving an A+ in the project. Oddly enough, Sonichu was one of the many fan-made Pokemon Chris used for the project. While the other ones aren't as eye-catching, maybe if another fan-made Pokemon was used, then this wouldn't be so much of an issue, like Celebi, or Squirskunk. Side Tiger? Okay, these aren't any good either. Sonichu has been Chris's favorite creation since. Who's to blame? Well, probably a lot of people. Since then, Sonichu has been in plenty of fan-made Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh cards, before the creation of the comic, usually seen with his love interest Rosechu and rival Blake, previously known as Black Sonichu. The Sonichu name would also somewhat be Chris's personal brand, with custom merchandise based on the character. Sonichu's power-up is portrayed to be metonic, however, this idea was never made into the comic. Not much changed with Sonichu's design. Originally, the design was closer to classic Sonic, being much rounder, while also at times trying to have a longer appearance, meshing both the classic and modern design of Sonic. More recent years of drawing Sonics have paid off, with Sonichu's having bigger and more expressive eyes, and looking more cleaner when uncolored. But this specifically going to the Sonichu's because everything else is just as sloppy. The character of Bionic is still used, but as a minor character. The creation of Bionic would be presented in the actual comic, though very loosely, or something, who cares. Sonichu's birthday was originally based on Patty, Chris Chan's beloved dog at the time, being March 17th. Sonichu was also born in 1988, being 16 at the time of the comic's inception. However, this was changed to April 20th, 1992 instead, as proposed by the Idea guys, making him 12 years old. However, age is a bit of an odd issue, as many of the characters are said to be a lot younger, but mature a lot more faster. So, technically, Sonichu and Rosechu are way older than most of their peers. And by Sonic 8, they are all legally 18 or something, because Chris wanted to draw some of them. Speaking of which, there might be somewhat of a connection to that Jigglypuff I talked about earlier, being related to Jigami, a fan character one of his false girlfriends made. There's plenty of doppelgangers, like the mentioned Blade, and Metal Sonichu too. There are other versions based on the parody comic Rosechu. There's also this Transformer thing, but that's more of Chris's obsessive branding. While Sonichu as a character exists, he is just one of many of his species, meaning that there are other Sonichus that we don't see, with the only other being of the same breed with his family, something that isn't very uncommon within the collectible monster genre. That's until some art they made for prison, showing Sonichu and Rosechu meeting a village composed entirely of Sonichus that look like them. Metonic also seems to be the natural evolution for the breed, specifically for male, but females are known to exist. Sonichu in the present. Chris Chan and Sonichu would have tons of adventures fighting Team Rocket and the witch Marilee Walsh for years to come. However, Sonichu would not be as prominent throughout his own comic, as much of the attention goes to his creator. While Sonichu does not get the Metonic power-up, he instead receives the Ultra Sonic form by collecting all 7 of the Sonichu balls. The design basically recolors him orange, since Sonichu was already yellow to begin with, and it being a possible reference to Bionic. Years later, this Ultra form gets used as a Megastone based on the 6th generation of Pokemon. Sonichu would later receive the title Sonichu Prime, possibly as a way to differentiate him and other Sonichus. Sonichu and Rosechu have a stable relationship. Like I said, no autism. The couple having 3 children, some of them being trans. That might sound wholesome, but isn't so wholesome as the birth of their grandchildren. The Idea guys' influence. Now, it should be known that some of the lore that I'm listing here had stuff edited by the Idea guys, trolls who corrupted Chris's comic. Though unlike others, a lot of these are subtle details. As from the issue from Hell, Rosechu and her kids were sent to a concentration camp, where they were raped and impregnated by Nazi Sonichus, with some of them being his stepchildren or even grandchildren. Oh, and since it seems to be canon, it's also canon that Sonichu shoots up the mall, while also having a sexual relationship with Christian themselves. But Sonichu isn't a part of the polyamorous marriage though. Jeez, that went from 0 to 100. Oh look, they added another one. Sonichu in some way was an ideal version of what Chris wanted to be. His life was stable, he had a stable relationship, and is a loving father to 3 children. Something Chris felt their autism, or maybe even other factors, prevented them from doing. The story of Sonichu was that of a rodent becoming a superhuman, but not that of a god, as he is still submissive to their own mortality, or lack thereof. At least it is true that man has no control, even over his own will. So what do you think about Sonichu? It's okay, you can keep it to yourself. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want, you can see some of my other content. I also did a Curse Mojo list on DSP, if you want to see something like that. And the next video is going to get even dumber. Hope to see you soon.